What's going on here?
No, she's sweet. Oh, Keithy seems to have done himself a mischief.
Stay back, fellas. Step back, keep out of
You all right, Keithy? Off you go, mate. Off to the sick bay.
I'm still trying to figure out this fight, if I'm being honest. Before we get Big J on the line, I just want to let you know that I do like the fight. I do. It's attractive, it's sexy, it's got some appeal. It just seems rushed. I've said this before. It just seems rushed. You know, the first ever PBC on Amazon event. Pay-per-view, we don't know the price yet, but it's probably going to be $75 here in the States. Is headlined by an Australian who's had abysmal ratings here on Showtime, and it's not, his fault. With his fights, I forgot who they were. I'm sorry. What was the order again? It was Terrell Goucher. This was on Showtime. Tony Harrison, Ocampo, Brian Mendoza. So he said 4 fights on Showtime, building up his name and his reputation in the 154-pound division. But pay-per-view Tszyu headlined by a part-time Keith Thurman. DeBarge, who's had 1 fight 2016, 1 fight 2017, 1 fight 2019, actually 2. He was active in 2019. Jose Tito Lopez and Manny Pacquiao. But his last fight, by the time he steps into the ring, will be 25 months ago against, as Big J probably going to say, a blown up 140-pounder, super lightweight or junior welterweight, Mario Barrios. And now he's moving up to fight Tszyu at 155 pounds. Likely no rehydration clause. Keith Thurman, high IQ fighter. High IQ fighter, but he's got an uphill battle. Let's go talk to Big J. Check your time out. Like the video, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. And you can follow Big J at Old Mate Big J on Twitter. In fact, I'll pull up his Twitter right now for you. Australian boxing season is picking up here. Oh, here we are right here. Boom, there you go. Follow Big J. All right. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. To jump right into things, we've talked about it. We've done several videos on this right now, and I am not confidently, I'm going to say this. I'm not saying I'm not giving Keith Thurman a chance, but with the way things are going, his layoff, size, inactivity, his jelly belly, the struggles that he had with the 140-pounder, as Big J would say, blown up 140-pounder Mario Barrios, I'm not confident that he can beat Tszyu. Now, I do remember in the past, I was getting some shit in the comments. Now, me and Big J, we read the comments. People were like, you guys were talking all the shit about Tszyu and everything. I told you from the beginning, he's got to show me something. I'm one of those, I guess you can say I am boxing media, but I'm a fan too. So we can't just jump in just straight from the beginning, just like, he's going to do this, this and that, and this and that. We have to have an unbiased opinion, but also to make sure that we're giving all boxers their fair shake. I guess what I'm saying is, to not be too long-winded, is I've seen enough from Tszyu to be like, okay, all right, this guy's got the goods. Like, I had to see it. I had to see it first. But as it stands right now, ask me today, I think he's going to stop Keith Thurman. And I can see a body shot. I can see Keith Thurman bending the knee. That's what I see. I see Keith Thurman not in the corner, but I'm having a vision of Keith Thurman being on his knee and not getting up by the 9 count. That's what I see. We got a lot of topics to talk about, so let me tell you right now. This is going to be one of our hard-hitting Aussie boxing podcasts, so we're going to cover the big topics. We got, of course, Keith Thurman versus Tszyu. Liam Paro is going to be taking on Sabril Matias. That's just blowing my mind right there. That's going to be happening in Puerto Rico. We got Oscar Valdez going to be taking on Liam Wilson on March the 29th. The day before Tszyu, big night, big weekend for Australian boxing. The day before Tszyu takes on Keith Thurman, Oscar Valdez, and Liam Wilson are going to be fighting. I like that fight. It will likely be, I just figured this out, Big J brought it up, that it will probably be for the WBO title at 130 pounds because Emmanuel Navarrete is moving up. And then we also have, what's the other fight, Big J? What was we talking about? I'm missing something. Shanika Johnson taking
Controversy.
on Nina Hughes. He spoke to Mick Zerafa earlier today about what's going on with him in the Erizlini Lara fight. And hold up, I feel like I'm missing a big fight. And of course, we already talked about Loma versus Kambosos. So let's just jump right into it. Where are we at with Tszyu and Keith Thurman? Has any of your thoughts changed?
Oh, not for a second. I mean, I still believe that, as I said, it's a unnecessary fight, which will give Tim zero, or maybe a little bit of credibility. I mean, he's got a lot, not a lot to gain, and a lot to lose. If he loses this fight, the WBA may strip him because it's a non-title fight.
Mm-hmm.
He'll lose all credibility because he's lost to a 35-year-old, blown-up, washed-up welterweight. All right. But I stand by my thing that I see Tim knocking the absolute fucking shit out of Keith Thurman inside of 3 rounds. I see Keith Thurman get the absolute dog shit kicked out of him. So I don't see how anyone anywhere can say with a straight face, and there's not too many people out there who are saying it, that Keith has a remote chance against Tim. Yes, he's got good footwork. Yes, he's done this. Yes, he's done that. But he's 35 years old, coming off of more than 2 years of inactivity. And as you said, he struggled against a blown-up 140er in his last fight. And the fight for that, he lost to an aging Manny Pacquiao. So it doesn't look good for Keith. And as the video said, Keith is going to be doing himself a mischief and getting dragged off to the sick bay. So
yeah,
he'll be
Keith
doing
Thurman,
more than bloody mischief, I can fucking tell you. There'll be a big bloody mischief.
So since 2017, when he fought Danny Garcia, by the way, I was supposed to be I had credentials for that fight, and I was hospitalized the night before. I couldn't make it to the event. I'll never forget that. Since he fought
Danny Garcia himself was a blown-up 140.
There you go.
So
I never liked Danny Garcia's resume at 147 pounds. Put it this way, he was never a 147 pounder to me.
nah.
You know, which is why he had literally no success at 147 pounds. But since 2017, take out Danny Garcia. 2019, January 2019, he fought Jose Zito Lopez. July of 2019, he fought Manny Pacquiao. Then in February of 2022, Mario Barrios. And now, 25 months, by the time he steps into the ring, it'll be 25 months since his last fight when he fights Tszyu. Talk about inactivity. And we're supposed to believe, listen, Keith Thurman has a very high boxing IQ. He's always been a very good boxer. If you listen to him, like he's a student of the game, but the inactivity, father time. He's the smaller fighter, 35 years old, inactivity, issues taking body shots. Some may question like, well, is this a cash out fight? Is the hunger still there? You know, many are thinking that if he loses, he's going to retire. Win or loss, people think he's going to retire. You know, I'm just not. I want to believe. I think he's going to put up a good fight while he's in there. He's going to try to crack Tszyu, but if he was to beat Tszyu, that's going to be a special win for him. But it's hard. Like, I'm being rational here. Like, the inactivity, father time, you know, the fact that he lost to Manny Pacquiao. Okay, Pacquiao's a special fighter, whatever the case may be. But he was also hurt to the body by Pacquiao. And Pacquiao hasn't been known to hurt people to the body. I'm trying to remember the last time Pacquiao hurt somebody to the body. My gut is telling me it wasn't Marquez. I think it was Ricky Hatton.
Nah, he knocked the absolute shit out of Ricky Hatton too.
No, but I'm talking about something like when he actually hurt somebody with a body shot before stopping him or winning the fight. But basically, Manny Pacquiao was not known. Oscar De La Hoya, he did get him to the body, but Oscar De La Hoya was drained. We're going to leave that alone. But he's not known to be a body puncher. You know, and Manny Pacquiao was what? What was he, 40 at the time? I think he was.
Yeah, pretty close to it. No, he was 40 against Dennis Angries. I think he was like 38, 39.
Okay. And then his next fight against a blown-up Mario Barrios, you know, he had issues with getting hurt to the body. And a lot of people thought he struggled big time against Barrios, that the cards were too wide. And now he's fighting at 155 against Tszyu. The question I want is there going to be a weight or rehydration clause against Tszyu? Maybe they can't talk about. But just a full-blown 155-pound or 154-pound Tszyu, I just can't see Keith Thurman winning. And by the way, Keith Thurman is listed at 5'9.5" on BoxRec. I have met Keith Thurman multiple times. I'm talking about I've interviewed him maybe 6-7 times, different places. He is not no 5'9". Hardcore fans, you know he's not no 5'9". Keith Thurman's about 5'7". You know, he's not a big dude. It's just so many things going against him. But go ahead. What were your thoughts?
Tim's a solid 5'9" because I've met him. Well, sort of. I saw him at his brother's fight.
But basically,
in
you
Melbourne.
sized him up. You sized him up.
Yeah, I've sized him up. He's a decent 5'9". Easy. So, yeah, definitely. So he'll definitely have height, reach, age, weight, every advantage you could have over a fighter, bar ring IQ, and that's debatable because Keith's been out of the game for so long. As I said, Tim's just going to absolutely fucking slaughter this guy, and they better have bloody medical friggin' people on board because Keith's going to need it after Tim's done with him.
So what chances are you giving? Like, okay, let's play devil's advocate. How does Keith Thurman win the fight? How does he win the fight? If he does win, how does he win?
He'll need help from the gods above. That's all. The only way to beat Tszyu, and I think he's overcome this now, is to rush him in the first round and knock him on his ass. Mm-hmm. But I think Tim has taken care of these problems because traditionally he's a very slow starter. Yeah. He was slow against Harrison. He was slow against.
He got dropped by Goucher.
He got dropped by Goucher. He got dropped by Wade Ryan. Both flash knockdowns, but still, he still got dropped. Mm-hmm. He was slow to start against Mendoza. He's traditionally very slow. Tszyu one of those guys who likes to start slow, walk you down, and then take care of you 6-7 rounds. I've talked to a few people today that say that's what he's going to do. Keith's going to run from him for 5-6 rounds, run out of steam. I think so.
He's going to play keep away, try to box.
Yeah, he'll play keep away, and then Tim will bloody walk him down, and that's where Keith will do himself a mischief, and he'll just get friggin' destroyed. So yeah, I think it's going to go for the quick knockout because I honestly don't believe for a second that Tim is going to take this lightly. He's not going to piss fart around, and I see him just absolutely walloping this poor bastard.
I think he's going to have to give.
What did he do to the last blown up welterweight he fought? Bowen Morgan, he knocked him out in like 90 seconds.
Bowen Morgan's not Keith Thurman, respectfully. You know?
Yeah, well, of course, but he's still a blown up welterweight. I mean, if he doesn't chin him, he'll gut him. So, and we all know how well Tim uses his gut shots. He's been a bit rough the last 3 fights, but if he focuses on those body shots like he did prior to the Harrison fight, right? I mean, Keith's in all sorts of problems. I can't see how Keith wins this fight. I really don't. Unless it's by some miracle of the gods above, I don't see Keith winning at all.
Well, we will continue. We are providing full coverage for Keith Thurman and Tszyu. So we've already done plenty of videos so far, and as we get closer to the fight, you can expect more videos. I'm waiting for the shoulder content schedule to be announced. I'm sure they're going to have some docu-series they're going to be putting out on this fight. I can't wait to see what Amazon Prime is going to be doing. I'm sure in Main Event over in Australian territories, they're going to be putting together something as well because this is Tszyu's biggest fight of his career, especially when it comes to the name of Keith Thurman. And he's headlining a pay-per-view here in the States. He said he wanted to be a star. This is the way to go. So let's talk about the undercard. You said you spoke to Mick Zerafa earlier. What's going on with him?
Mick, yeah, had a good talk to Mick. Hadn't spoken to him for a while. He's in good spirits. He's with Anito Donaire. I believe his wife's helping out. They've got a trainer. When I spoke to him today, he was I've just finished up training. And he'll be said, when are you heading over? He said around late February. About 3 weeks, he said. So what's that? What's today's date? 7.
He'll be here. Basically the first week of March.
Yeah, pretty much right. Late February, early March. And I said, I'll give him a ring. We'll get him on the channel again before he buggers off overseas and does what he needs to do. So, he's in good spirits. He's got his game plan. I certainly hope he does it. A lot of people
I think he can beat Lara. Lara's been slowing down. His legs are not what they used to be.
They said about 3 times during the press conference he's the oldest current world champion.
He is.
Yeah,
and also, he has his inactivity issues, too. His last fight was 18 months ago against a very low-caliber opponent against Gary O'Sullivan. The last fight before that was a year before against Thomas LaManna. Basically, he has done shit since Brian Castano in 2019. He fought Canelo's brother, Roman Alvarez. I'm talking about these are C-level fighters like that he's been fighting. Ramon Alvarez, C-level. Greg Vendetti, C-level. Thomas Lamana, C-level. Gary Spike Sullivan, C- level. Those are his last opponents.
Mick Zerafa's last 4 fights since the Jeff Horn rematch ain't been that flash either.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Mick Zerafa can beat all of those guys I've just named. I would pick him to beat all of those guys.
Yeah, so... But, Mick's done what? He fought Mundine, took care of him in a round.
Yeah, but that you can't really count Mundine. That's old man Mundine. No, I remember he wasn't even supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
So Vinny Naue, Isaac Hardman, Danilo Creedy.
Yeah, and that was the Italian bloke, wasn't it? The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a terrible performance. I mean, even Mick said it was shit. But he's fighting. But then again, he's only boxed 15 rounds in the last 4 or 5 fights.
Yeah, you're right.
He finished Chokin 1, Harbin 2, the Fijian
16 rounds. No, excuse me, 17 rounds. 17
rounds, which is that's a fight and a half.
Yeah.
That's not much. That's not much at all. What's Lara done in the last 2-3 fights?
Well, Lara's not a knockout. Well, actually, Lara stopped his last 2 opponents, but it was Spike O'Sullivan and Thomas Lamana. But those are, I'm telling you, they're low-level opponents. No, they're low-level. Like, he was supposed to stop those guys.
Yeah. Well, same with, I think the Harbin. I mean, I was there. I mean, the Harbin fight was. I knew he was going to win, but I didn't think he'd get rid of him in 2 rounds.
Yeah,
so
he butchered him.
Definitely. Yeah, he butchered him. Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a very significant win because everyone thought, Mick will win, but we didn't think he'd win like that. I was not prepared to say that he was going to beat Harbin in 2 rounds. But
okay.
Anyway,
so before we move on,
I want Mick. I spoke to Mick about this. I want him to win because if he wins, then the
Tszyu fight. I was going to ask you that.
Definitely is on the cards. It's especially by some miracle Tim loses and Mick wins.
I won't be surprised.
That would take a miracle.
I won't be surprised if during fight week they have something's going to happen between them. They're going to meet up sometime during fight week. Yeah,
well, actually, I told him, I said, buy one of those Keithy's Done a Mischief shirts, give it to Tim and tell him to wear it at the next press conference. He thought it was pretty funny.
Something's going to happen.
If No Limit and Amazon Prime and PBC and all those guys are smart, they will build this up. I mean, you can see it coming. And I mean, look at me. I'm a friggin' 41-year-old, barely educated ex-soldier who's had too many hits to the head, and I wasn't a boxer. And I could see this coming.
And if if Zerafa beats Lara, that'll be Tszyu's gateway into 160 pounds. He'll be able to fight for a title.
Exactly, because that fight in Australia, because they would be mad to hold it anywhere else because no one else would give a shit about it, that fight would be a Mega Millions fight.
Mm-hmm.
Easy. I mean, Choc versus Horn was a $4 million fight. How much money do you reckon Zerafa versus Tszyu would generate if it was for a world title? So, this is basically Green Mundine all over again. They took 5 years dancing around each other, doing the same stuff, with the exception of actually having a fight and pulling out of it a week before. They never did that. But this is pretty much a carbon copy of the same bullshit Mick and bloody Danny Green danced around each other for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted, if they are going to fight, I want a world title on the line because that's the one thing Green and Mundine never did.
Okay.
They never fought for a world title. So they fought for the Australian title in that rematch. It was bloody awful. But yeah, so that's what I want because that would be probably the biggest fight of this generation, without a doubt. I can't think of any other fight bigger.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, if Mick wins, Tim wins, the option's there, and eventually Tim is going to break into 160. Now that Charlo's not around, I don't know how long he's going to stay at 154 because it's going to take a while to collect all those belts, and does he want to do it?
Yeah, especially with Charlo bullshitting around. And what's going to make it worse is if the WBC makes Charlo champion in recess, because it's like Tszyu can win the fight for the regular WBC, but it's still going to be like a debate. Well, Charlo still has the other belt, Like I hate when they do that.
Well, consider this. Remember, Fendora's fighting for that Russian bloke.
You're
for
right.
the WBC title.
You're right.
Tim's options are endless after this fight. He's got at least 2. If Mick wins, he's got that option. If
He
the
can
winner
even go
of
after the IBF route, the winner of that fight.
Yeah, but hang on, let's confirm. Who's actually fighting for the IBF? Because I've heard, what is it still?
It's still Kuke and Murtazaliev, but I'm gonna check now to be sure.
Because I heard one of them got injured and Erickson Lubin was in.
Hold on, let me check now.
Let's just confirm that. Because I know the Germans picked up. It's going to happen to Germany.
They won the purse bid.
Picked it up. So a German promoter picked it up. Fair enough.
So far, no. It's looking like it's still going forward for April the 6th.
Good. Happy with that. And that's barely a week after Tim wins the fight. I think he'd probably go and watch that. I know I would. I'd be going to Germany and watch the fight to see who wins.
Yeah, it still looks like it's going. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. He has options, especially with Fundora and Zerafa. So he can probably, if Zerafa beats Lara, he can probably fight for that belt. Unlike if he says, you know what, the biggest fight I wanted at 154 is going with Charlo. Crawford doesn't want to fight me. I'm going to go up to 160 and try to dominate there because we talked about it. 160 is a weak division, and it's a division that doesn't have any real politics that's going to keep Tszyu from being able to collect belts, especially once Charlo, it's official that Canelo's going to fight Jamal Charlo, then he's going to have to vacate that belt.
Exactly.
So it may be an easier path toward undisputed at 160 pounds than it is right now, depending on what's going on. But then again, the path is already easy at 154.
It very easy. And
Tszyu opened up.
Fight that dual champion. What's that bloke's name that's got the IBF and the WBO? He's a fucking beast, that bloke.
At 160?
Yeah. What's his name?
Janjabek Alimhanallah, the Kazakhstanian.
Is he German or Russian?
No, Kazakhstan.
Where's he from?
Kazakhstanian. Same as Golovkin.
Yeah, Triple G. Yeah, I knew he was Eastern European. So that guy's not to be fucked with.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's good, but his level of competition has been really low.
Yeah, true.
Because nobody wants to fight him because, for one, he doesn't bring in any money, and he's the classic example of high risk, low reward.
Yeah, exactly.
So on to the next topic. By the way, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. You can follow me at TstreeT Controversy and Big J at Old Mate Big J. As you can see, that's his social media right there on the screen. The Keefe's done himself some mischief. Let's talk about this other major announcement that's going on, that Liam Paro has already signed his portion of the contract to fight IBF champion at 140, Subriel Matias. And Matias, let me say it this way, to keep it tastefully, he's a very dangerous man. 20-1 with 20 KOs, his power right now, he's arguably the boogeyman at 140 pounds. He was with PBC for some time. PBC had offered him a boots in this fight and a Amantis Stanionis fight at 147. He didn't want to move it to 147, so he decided to cut ties with PBC, and now he's going to be fighting over on Matchroom under Eddie Hearn's promotion. So this is going to make his third major promoter. He's fought with Top Rank, he's fought with PBC, and now he's with Matchroom, and he's supposed to be fighting Liam Paro in Puerto Rico. No date yet, from what I'm looking at, has been confirmed. As I'm looking right now, no date yet. But to be very honest, I am not liking Liam Paro's chances. But Liam Paro still, he's a skilled fighter, but I haven't seen enough from him to think that he's going to beat Subriel Matias. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Dig a hole.
Big balls on Liam Paro.
Oh yeah, there's been a lot of social media. Some bloke
balls.
put up, and I wish I found the picture of. Remember Randy from South Park?
I have it up on the screen now. I just give it a little flash.
Yeah.
I couldn't show too much. Hopefully they don't take it down. But yeah,
that's pretty much the size of Liam Paro's balls taken on this guy. But I'm like, holy shit! I don't like saying this, but I honestly think Liam is gonna get fucking slaughtered. It's
in
gonna be
Puerto
hard
Rico
to
too, so he can even the cards. They're probably gonna rob him. I'll never forget how they robbed Mauricio Herrera when Danny Garcia went to Puerto Rico.
If he doesn't get knocked out, he's going to get robbed on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hell of a gutsy move, but it's not a very smart one.
Yeah, but as the saying goes, he's daring to be great.
Yeah, that's right. Damn right. I wouldn't have fought him in his home country. I would have fought him somewhere neutral.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got to admire. You got to have a crack. I mean, you got to risk it to get the biscuit, as they say.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hope he pulls it off because it'll be a massive upset. It'll probably be. Ooh, I reckon no. Well, no. You reckon that would be bigger if George beats Lima? If Liam pulls that off?
Well, here's the thing, because he's fighting a boogeyman. Let me tell you, it might not be bigger, but he will be trending in boxing. He will be trending online. Let's say it that way. It's going to be global headlines.
Yeah, without a doubt. So
So his name, like, if he was to win that fight, he's going to shoot up into the stratosphere, like especially on social media.
Where are they fighting in Puerto Rico? Are they fighting in like a well-known? We don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm looking. I have it on there. It's not confirmed yet. We just know it's in Puerto Rico.
All right. Does Puerto Rico have any well-known stadiums?
They do. I can't remember, but remember, Puerto Rico hasn't really been on the map with boxing since Miguel Cotto and before that, Felix Trinidad.
Yeah, and Serrano, she fights all over the place.
Yeah, but she's not like on that level. Her next fight is coming up in Puerto Rico, but she's not on like that level. No disrespect to her, but it's just not. But right now, as I'm looking, there's no signed official. It's not there yet. Like nothing with the venue, and there's not even a date that they're looking at.
Oh, I heard it was around April, May.
Let me look right now. I'm pulling up an article.
Could be wrong.
It doesn't say here.
Maybe 1st of June, but then again,
I can see that.
Anyway. Yeah.
And also with the IBF, they don't play around anyway. So yeah, you can expect for that fight to be sometime in May or June, especially with the way these fights are being scheduled.
I'm just concerned that the level of competition Lima's faced is not great preparation for, this bloke that he's about to face. So because his last two fights, he knocked out Matanalove. Matanalove's a mid-carder at best.
And then Brock Jarvis are blown up. Jarvis, yeah, there you go.
Who and he shouldn't have fought in the first place.
Yeah.
So
and he had that squeak by win against Yamar Alamo.
That was the Cuban bloke, right?
Yeah.
Because he got knocked down in the first round in that fight.
Yeah.
So and there was a Chilean guy too. I think he fought a bloke from Chile there at one point. Might have been 2 or 3 fights before that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, but none of these guys we know of. The only he only has really 2 somewhat, and Matanalove's not really a name. Let's be honest. He's not really a name, and Brock Jarvis is not really a name either. And Brock Jarvis had no business at that weight as fast as he did. That's why he got starched in 1 round.
Exactly. I mean, that as I said, that fight never should have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, we're going to be paying. Well, as soon as that fight becomes official, we're definitely going to be doing a video on that, especially with all the details going to be taking place in Puerto Rico. Australian boxing is really on fire. By the way, before we move on to the last major topic, Shanika Johnson versus Nina Hughes. That fight, we smelled that coming from a mile away. How do you think that goes? I've seen Nina Hughes fight before. I like Nina Hughes. I've seen both of them, but I would pick Nina. I'm not giving Shanika too much shit for losing to Ellie Scottney, because Ellie Scottney has a good amateur career and she's overall a good fighter. Shanika seems more, as you talked about, more like a part-timer, OnlyFans-ish type fighter. But I'm not saying I'm not giving her a chance, but I'm more leaning towards Nina Hughes.
Yeah, I'm the same, because as I said, once I realised that Shanika was into that OnlyFans garbage, I'm like, lost interest. So I hope Hughesy beats the daylights out of her. But
however, Nina is 41 years old.
True. Age catches up to all of them, but Shanika has all the advantages. She's younger, she's more experienced.
I would say she's a bigger fighter too, from what I've seen.
She's a lot bigger fighter, because I think Nina Hughes is like 5 foot
5'3".
5'3". Okay, so and Shanika already has experience with fighting smaller, older women, because she beat Tszyu Ramadan. So I think it'll probably be very similar. I want Hughes to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me being honest. I think the winner of that fight will probably definitely look at probably getting a unification bout with the Japanese girl. I don't see them. Who looks after? What's the girl's name? The Danish girl, who's the WBC WBO champ. What's her name? Dina Thorsland or something?
She's with the German promoter, Waschelin. The Solomon brothers. Right. They have like Chris Eubank, the German promoter.
Okay, right. Because I'm thinking, when is the other, when are the other champions going to fight her? Because she just seems like no one can actually get to her.
Mm.
So she's always fighting in Denmark, and no one can actually get to her. But anyway,
yeah.
I mean, I'm tipping Hughes for that fight. Even though Shanika has all the advantages, she didn't look good against Ellie Scotney. I mean, on paper, she should have dealt with her quite easily, and she didn't. Ellie just had it all over her.
No, Ellie's a good fighter. Like, I've watched her from the beginning, very first fight. She's a good fighter. Like, she lives the boxing sport.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Like, she don't do no OnlyFans or nothing. She was working at like a Tesco or something before she started boxing. Right. Or Costco. Right, like, she lives boxing. Like, even if you follow her on social media, she watches all the fights. Like, she's living the sport.
Yeah, well, obviously I haven't kept up with what Shanika's been doing, so I don't know what she's doing.
I just looked at her Instagram, photos and bikinis and everything.
Oh, God. Well, yeah. I'm glad I'm not paying any attention to that. So. Nil interest.
All right.
Anyway.
Final topic. We got a big fight coming up that may be for the WBO championship on 130 pounds. Oscar Valdez versus Liam Wilson. This is going to be Oscar Valdez's first fight since losing to Navarrete, and this is going to be Liam Wilson's third fight since losing to Navarrete. They both fought Navarrete in 2023. They were Navarrete's back-to-back opponents. Now, both of them being respectfully leftovers of fighting each other.
Yeah, well, this I don't have a problem with because, Navarrete's moving up to 135. They've got to give title to somebody. So if the WBO sanctioned it, it hasn't happened yet, but it most likely will. I don't have a problem with it. So they're ranked 2 and 5 respectively.
Wilson did better against Navarrete than Valdez did.
That's true. And I'm interested to see how Liam's going to go because.
But while he was in there, he did better.
Yeah, absolutely. And is Valdez a smaller guy than Navarrete? I've got a feeling that he's smaller because I think I did see that.
Let me tell you what he like. Let me tell you what Valdez is. He has like the build of Loma. Like if he goes up like another weight division of 135, he don't belong there. He is like he's a smaller fighter. I can't say that he's smaller than Liam Wilson. I can't say he's smaller than Navarrete because the problem with Navarrete is he's putting on weight, but as you can see, that man don't have a ounce of definition on his body.
No, I mean he looks pudgy.
Yeah, he's pudgy. So he's putting out like I think that Navarrete is a step too far at 135. My personal opinion.
I thought he was a step too far at 130.
I do too.
Personally,
but I mean he made it through. But 135, that's a bridge too far. I think he's going to get slaughtered at 135 because the 135ers outside of guys like Loma and maybe George, those 135ers are big. Remember, those guys are now fighting at 140 and 147.
That's right.
And can possibly compete at 140. Guys like Ryan Garcia, who's now 140. Teofimo's already talking about moving to 147. Devin Haney's already entertaining 147 to fight Conor Benn. Tank Davis is already entertaining 140 and 147. So those guys are big. But Valdez is a skilled fighter. But Liam Wilson, from what we've seen from him, especially with the how he avenged his loss against Joe Noine, like he's got heart. And I do believe we talked about it. He let Navarrete off the hook.
He did. He really should have. As soon as he got back up, he should have just belted him again.
He had him, and he let him off the hook.
He did. He let him off the hook. And I mean, you got to remember that Liam Wilson is a very big 130er. Very, very big. I mean, he's like 5'10". He's got a hell of a reach on him. He can hit. His defense issues still need a little bit of work. But yeah, I think he'll do well against this Valgal guy. I mean, I hope he wins. If he does, he gets the world title. We're off to the races. So
Valdez is good though, but like the last couple of years, few years with the Shakur Stevenson, like I won't be surprised if he's like I'm not confident in Valdez like I used to be. You know, so I will not be surprised if Liam Wilson gets an upset, because it would be an upset. By the way, the undercard is going to feature Emiliano Vargas, Fernando Vargas' son, Richard Torres Jr., Raymond Maratala, and you're going to have a big undisputed fight between Sinacia Estrada and Yusaka. I'm sorry, I always mess up, but Yoka Valley. I always butcher her name. So it's a solid card. If I can rate the card on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give it a 9. It's a solid card. For it to be, I'm expecting that WBO belt to be on the line. It's the WBO. It's no secret that the WBO and Top Rank are in cahoots. They're just waiting for Emmanuel Navarrete to officially move up and vacate. And then I'm expecting for Valdez and Liam Wilson to fight for that vacant title. Closing thoughts?
Well, I mean, this year's kicked off with a bang, and it's actually getting even bigger because, it's only early February. We've already had one world title fight.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to get another one, hopefully with Liam. George is on the line. Then you got Shanika, so there's 2 on that fight, possibly 3. Then we've got... What's the other one? What's the other one coming up soon? Oh, yeah, of course. We haven't even talked about this yet.
I was going to say we're going to bring up Breedis and Opataya. But I want them to have their individual video, but we can talk about it a little bit since we're here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've heard that's going to move over to... Is there any confirmation it's going to move over to the March... To the
I checked this morning. Not yet. They're debating on having it move on next month. March the 18th, on the undercard of Joshua versus Ngannou. But also what I've been reading here is they're also considering it being its own card. But remember, since it's the vacant IBF, the IBF may have something to do with it as well. They probably want that fight to happen as soon as possible.
Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a shame that Fury got a cut, blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean, it's looking like another solid year for Australian boxing.
Yeah.
Because we've already got like 4 world title fights.
Yeah, and
already.
and it's still the beginning of the year, so we can still have them same fighters can fight again, maybe 2 or 3 times this year, with the way things are going.
Exactly. Well, the Maloneys like to fight at least 2-3 times a year. Jai keeps active. Tim fights at least 3 times a year. So, George, he'll fight if he beats Loma. I dare say he'll fight again before the end of the year. Yeah, and of course then there's we'll bring this in another video, but Sky Nicholson and her title fight. So there's lots happening.
All right, with that being said, we will be back again next week where we're going to be covering the rest of everything. Of course, we got guys like Justice Hooney to talk about and a lot of other fighters, but we wanted to make sure we covered the big topics here today. With that being said, take your time out, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy, and Big J right here, as you can see on the screen, at Old Mate Big J. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Please subscribe.